Hey there, Leveraging eLearning family. I'm really excited to present to you a new Canvas template, an activity template called Making Meaning with Mind Maps. So I'm a huge advocate for students doing more mind maps with every single subject. There's been so much research done to show the effectiveness of mind maps as a learning tool and the fact that it's going above and beyond just active recall, but actually deepening understanding. And so I wanted to create a template based on an activity that is found in a book called The Power of Making Learning Visible here, let me show you. I've been going off on this book. There's so many great activities in here that really can be used with so many different subjects. And what I'm trying to do is turn some of the best activities in here into Canvas templates in a way for students to do this digitally, online, or in hybrid ways. So that way we're not actually having to require students to be in our classroom to do the learning, right? So yes, this is by Ron Richhart and Mark Church. This is their second book on visible thinking or making thinking visible. And I think the first book actually has totally different activities. So great resource if you're looking for something to elevate what students are doing in your classroom to deepen their own understanding. Okay, let's jump into the template. This template is very much like my previous templates, kind of the same setup. I love consistency when it comes to online learning. So you're going to find the same types of elements. So you're always going to have your question, your unit question at the very top. If you're new to my templates, please know that anything in the green italicized brackets is for you to insert your own language or even accept the language that I provided. That helps just give you a little bit of a running start. So you're going to input your own unit question. This activity can be used in multiple different units, maybe every single unit, and students will get really good at it by the end of your class. But the next piece is activity goal or purpose. So you are essentially telling students what the goal of this activity is and providing some background and some purpose. So what I've put here is just an explanation based on this activity. This is a small group activity, which we love, right? Collaboration. It's intended to provide collaborative space to further explore an already familiar topic. So this activity could be done towards the end of a learning unit to deepen their own understanding before they have to do that summative assessment. Okay, so an already familiar topic, concept, or event by making connections, wondering, building explanations, and then synthesizing all of that in order to create a deeper meaning. And this is all done through a really fun mind map. I'll tell you that the mind map tool I'm using is just a Google Jamboard, which is essentially just a digital whiteboard digitally. So you don't need any fancy mind mapping tools for this activity. The total timeline is going to be about an hour and a half. So you're going to determine, when this time is taking place in class or outside of class. But I will say that part one of this activity should be live collaboration. So they're either going to do it together in class, or they can even do it live, at home if you're teaching still in a hybrid method where, some group of your students are at home certain days. It can be done live synchronously. And then the other part, which is the first part, is about 1 hour. The second part is just a quick 30-minute reflection. So students are taking this collaboration and doing something with it to deepen their own understanding. Okay. All right, so let me jump into what the actual mind map looks like and the stages of it so that this activity, the instructions, make a little more sense. Okay, so I'll jump into the example that I provided. So what you do is you're just going to give them the main concept, event, or topic. That's all you have to do. Okay, and then there are different layers that students add on to this mind map together. So the first layer, I'm going to click through the slides here. The first layer is they all just respond to this main topic with one word. Okay, everyone in that group should be able to reach for that level. So they just provide one word that connects to this main topic. Okay, the next thing that they do is they do an add-on. So then they have to look at someone else's word and provide another word or phrase that gives a little more information about that one word. So for example, the main topic is machine learning, the initial response is recognition, and then someone added on recognition of detail, decisions based off data, predict outcomes, okay? Data collection. So just giving a little more information or a little more context around that initial word. This is called the add-on phase. The next phase is connections. So now as a group, they have to make connections between some ideas here. And then the best part about this is that they then get to label those connections with a Post-it. If you're new to Jamboards, all the tools are on the left-hand side here. And I actually provided an overview video in the template. So if you want a little background information or how, figure out how this tool works, provided that video for you and for your students. Okay, so students are making connections and they are labeling what that connection is. So connection here from recognition down to learn. The connection is learning to recognize patterns. Okay, another connection here, learn to evolution is the evolution of learning. Data to decisions, data influences decisions. So they are making the connections and they are articulating the connections. The next layer is questions. So now that they have these kind of off-sprouted ideas and concepts based on the main topic, they've made connections between those and they've articulated those connections. Now they get to each craft one question that they have about what has come up so far or about the main topic themselves. So using that Post-it feature again, students can just click on a specific color that matches questions, type out their question, and then kind of stick their Post-it next to whatever the question is about. Okay, so they are making connections, they are questioning, they are wondering more, and here is the final layer. The final layer is once they have done all of this with this main topic here, they're now going to get to create their own definition of what this topic is. So starting with the name of the topic, so machine learning is, and their job is to try to create one sentence that encompasses what is machine learning based on all of the connections that they have done with their group. Okay, so this is such a great setup for synthesizing all that they have learned in a unit. Okay, you can see that this could get really in depth based on the concept and the time and honestly how many times they've done this activity, so they can really understand the different layers. Okay. So let me just show you one thing about Jamboards. So you give them this machine learning here, and then in order to keep whatever's on the last page, so let's say they go here and they do the one-word responses. They want to keep all those one-word responses in order to do the next layer. They just click on this little arrow here and they wouldn't have the rest of these slides. So they would just click on the last slide, triple dots, and click duplicate. Okay, then they can move on to the next layer. So it's that simple. All right, so that is what the activity is, and then a reflection based on that. This is such a good activity to set students up for a summative assessment. All right, so let's go back into the template here. So we've gone over the unit question, activity goal, timeline, and here are our instructions. So the first part one is the layered mind map. This is the group work that needs to be done live or in class or live online. And I even provided, if your students are new to using Google Jamboard, which is a total free tool, here is a Jamboard overview video that goes over all the tools and how the tool works itself. The next piece is for you just to create however many groups that you're going to have, that many Jamboards, so that every group has its own Jamboard and you can link each one here. So students would need to know a way of what group that they are in so they know which linked Jamboard to click on that is theirs. You can even put student names here, Jamboard, so they know which one is theirs to click on. Okay, and then all students can be on this Jamboard at the same time together. All right, so once they've gotten to their mind map, so access your group mind map, step 2 of part 1 is to create your collaborative group mind map. So it's going to talk about each layer. The first layer is to add that one word. Here's one here to remember. Layer 2 is to add a phrase or a word to expand the initial responses. Layer 3 is to draw connections. Layer 4 is to post their own question. And layer 5 is to craft their own definition based on what has come up so far. So it's a 1 AC QD. If you can think of a really cute acronym to help us remember the different layers, it would be really helpful for us as teachers and then for students to recognize what is expected in this activity every time they come to it. That would be really helpful. If you could leave a post somewhere, wherever you're viewing this, I would be happy to report to the group a really fun or cute acronym for us to remember. Something else I linked here is that machine learning example that I provided. Now, my suggestion as a teacher as well is to go through this activity as a group first, and then as kind of like a think aloud that they're all doing together, and then link that example mind map here instead of mine. That way when they click on it, they're reminded of that experience and what went into it. Okay? But here is a copy of mine, and when you click on this link, it'll automatically have you create your own copy. So no worries about messing up the example that I provided. All right, and then part 2, the final part of this template, is a reflection. So I tell students, hey, just open up a Word document or even a Google Doc, and then write a 200-word reflection. Word account can be up to you, of course. Reflection addressing the following prompt. Just gave them a couple questions to reflect on. What is their definition that they came up with? So that could be at the top of the reflection. How does this definition fit back into that unit question? Okay, always drawing them back to the unit question. And then what is their biggest takeaway? So what is a connection or a question that came up that really made their brain jog a little harder? And then they can even add their link of their group's mind map to their reflection page. Okay, so it can be a live link there. And their job is to submit their completed reflection to this assignment. So although this is a small group assignment, there's no real need to make this a group assignment in Canvas, because everyone in your class can come to this one assignment. They can click on their respective group links, and then they can all submit their individual reflections here. Okay, so you can leave it as a regular assignment. All right, so this is my lovely Making Meanings with Mind Maps activity template. I hope that you use this over and over again in your class. One thing I always tell faculty that I'm working with is whenever you come across a template that you really like, or a template that you have created, an assignment that you have created, and you want to use that type of activity over and over again, go back to the modules where the activity is listed. Use the triple dots on the right-hand side and click that duplicate button. Okay, because you don't want to do work that you've already done, right? We always want to find the most efficient, effective way to create learning in Canvas so that you can get a little more time back for yourself. Very, very important. So make sure you use that duplicate button if you want to use this in every single unit, which I absolutely think you should. Bye for now, friends.